Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our bank holiday special coming at you live from Japan. It is the No Assists race here. It'll be a standard format, just as we wait for everybody to load on in, as the session will start in 0.00 seconds. Come on, game, don't break instantly, please. We'll be going with a short qualifying and then a 100% race around here. Damage settings are reduced, safety cars are reduced, fingers crossed, and I've very kindly been joined by a last-minute stand-in. He'll be driving and doing some comms on the side as well. It's Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
Absolutely fantastic, mate.
Yeah,
how are you?
Yeah, no, very good, thank you. Enjoy my bank holiday, and looking forward to this race. I think Japan's a pretty good pick for testing out no assists, and as we mentioned earlier, you're a no assists driver yourself naturally, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the best, but I've had it off now for a year, so I know a few things.
Yeah, so what was it? What was the reason why did you choose to make the move to no assists, and what sort of helped you along that way?
To be honest, I quite like the challenge of it, and knowing that if I do make a mistake, it's completely my fault, rather than blaming the game.
Yeah.
So,
no, that makes sense. And how have you found, is your driving style changed since adapting it? Have you found more success with no assists on rather than having a few training wheels on, as they say?
Success, I would say no. But I'll get there.
I seem to remember you won one of your first races in France, no assists, wasn't that back in F1 21? Yeah,
that was the first one, and that was the last one up to now. It's a bit of a nightmare, but I'm getting there. It's nice. It's nice. I'm a lot more cautious into corners and things like that, which you have to be really.
I think that helps, doesn't it? As a just for racecraft reasons as well. If you know that you can't, like you said, rely on the car and you can't blame it, you can't just put your foot on the loud pedal and just know it's going to stay. You've got to nurse the car through the corners. It's a lot better. Right, are you out on the track? Oh, no, you're not. You're stuck in the pits. But if you want to go out now, that's fine. I will take our viewers on a lap of this Suzuka circuit. Thank you very much, and I'll come back to you during the race. All right? Cheers. Take care. Right, now let's go racing with Era Voice. I think he's a full-time no-assist runner here, so we're going to take you around a lap of this Suzuka circuit. Gorgeous circuit, this one, one of my favourites on the calendar. I was about to show you why. So this first turn, you've got two apexes, you've got to hit both of them just to line it up perfectly, and you want to get as much power as you come into the S's, which is a left-right, left-right. This section, you're not used to manual gears or traction control. This is all about both of those things. You don't want to let the car go away from you too much. You don't want to put your foot on the throttle too soon, or you will find yourself losing the rear end. The Era Voice has this Aston Martin absolute advantage. Then you're through two right-handers. Very easy to go wide here if you're not careful. Just got a little bit wide there. Fingers crossed it hasn't invalidated. And now we're up to the treacherous hairpin. This will be a big hard braking zone. Maybe here the brakes possibly lock up a bit. That's going to be a challenge for our no-assist drivers, particularly those who usually run ABS. But Era's been able to keep that together now. Now we're on to Spoon. Another double apex corner is one of the most challenging. The car just wants to get away from you. It wants to travel right. And you can see the Aston Martin there on a warm-up lap. It's got it wrong, but no mistakes for Era. And we're through to 130R. This is going to be flat out in these F1 cars. You don't want to go side by side through here, but he's going to have no such problem in qualifying. Then we're down the Casino chicane. This is where Senna and Prost had that big moment all these years ago. It's another heavy braking zone, but Era's managed to keep it together. And oh no! Just on the final corner. That is treacherous. You've got a bump there, and he's found out. So let's go on board with BRD Calvin, who's just coming up the same bit of corner. Let's see how he negotiates it very smoothly through here, and yet you want to avoid the bump out there. He does so. It's going to be across the line with a 1. Oh, and it's across the line for the start of his fast lap, because I just switched to whatever driver we've got. G-Star paving the way then on the mediums, our tier 1 driver with a 130. Kaiser Soze in the Alpine with a 128.7. Excellent banker up there from the Alpine driver tonight. a good spread. Remember that we've got, this is a one-off race for our drivers, so there's no tier 1 or tier 2 action, so we'll see them from all the tiers tonight. So we might see quite a mixed up grid, a difference of times, but this race is all about just learning the assists, growing with confidence, and making sure we've got the most even playing field possible. Now, saying that, we have, as I mentioned at the start of our broadcast, we've got reduced damage on, a reduced rate of damage as well, which should make any lockups a little less punishing, so people can recover from the mistakes a bit easier, and a reduced safety car. So fingers crossed we don't have this race interrupted with endless boring stints behind the safety car, or otherwise it's going to get very dull indeed. Let's take you on board then with our co-commentator, Red Car. He's going to show us how it's all done. Look at that helmet livery, the classic Senna style, as always, and I know he usually supports the Brazilian flag in the lobbies as well. Can he emulate Senna as well in the Ferrari? Senna never drove for Ferrari, did it? It was always for McLaren, and then for the Williams team for a while. And I wonder what he can do in... I've just realised I've put Ryan in his least favourite car tonight.
It happens.
Everybody assumes because of your name, mate, that, Red Car, he wants to drive the most famous red car in the game, but if you're happy talking on comms, that's fine, mate.
I will say I am not the best in Japan. I really don't like it.
What do you find about it? I mean, I really like it as a circuit, but what do you find challenging about it, or what do you think is most difficult about it?
I can just never get the setup. Or a few brake zones just they trick me, like that one.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. There's usually the bit that I use for that, and I can't remember if it's this game or Gran Turismo. I've been playing both recently, but there is a strip of concrete just before the 50 mark, around about 75, which isn't a bad visual reference to have when we've got no line on tonight. Let's see where you come. That looks like a steady banker lap. It's not going to be right at the top of the charts, but where you're going to go across P13 with a 131.175. Yeah, more time on the car, but very good. Japan is a track which I feel is all about flow. It's just about, if you find the flow, it's gorgeous, and if you don't, then it becomes a bit of a nightmare, a bit of a tricky one. But we will see how you go tonight. Sorry, I'll let you concentrate getting out of the way of these.
That's okay. I can't really see the screen. I've put the gamma down a bit too much.
So you're sort of racing Japan in sort of like in a rainstorm, or just like it looks very, very dark, and you're racing it in twilight?
Very dark down the back straight. I really cannot see there.
Well,
I'll change that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We do want you to see, mate. And we haven't done it tonight, but it is an option, and I know Simba is keen to do this. What viewpoint do you race from? Do you race from within the cockpit as well, or are you sitting on top of your car?
I'm in TV pod for now until I get the, I don't know what you call it, the monitor stand.
Okay, so you can get more of a wider field of view.
Yeah, a little bit closer to me then.
Yeah.
That's the next one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I know that Simba is big on running races in cockpit view, which I tried last season, and boy, is it... Sometimes I feel like I'm quicker with it, because you're down closer to the ground, you can judge every apex a bit better, but in terms of racecraft, knowing how wide your car is and avoiding incidents, it can be a huge challenge. Oh, just doing a Kimi Räikkönen, a bit of rally in there.
Thought it was a pit lane.
Oh, who was it who did that? I think it was Latifi or somebody, an F1 driver did that in real life, got themselves lost at Suzuka, so you're not alone. Even the professionals do it from time to time. Let's see who our main runners are at the moment. So we've got Saviour on top with a 128.4. Excellent lap from him. Kaiser Soze. I can't remember what tier Kaiser is in, but that seems like an incredible time for him. To Dennis Hornet as well. Tier 3. V3 with a 129.
Seems a bit bright, but at least I can see.
You've got the choice of being blinded or absolutely having to race in the dark. Let's go to
as long as I can see, just so I don't hit nobody.
That's good. Yeah, fingers crossed you'll be able to stay in this one a bit longer. I know that, driving standards have been a bit of an issue this year in MRC, and we are trying to get those issues ironed out across the tiers. You've been involved in a couple of incidents, haven't you, mate? So fingers crossed you can get a clean race in tonight and find that love back, because it is no fun when you are being bashed around like a bowling ball.
I'm going to hit that dog.
Sure, it's very cute. I'm sure it means well. That'll be quiet in the background. Let's see who is on a quick lap. I'll stick on board with Rob Smith, who's in the Red Bull tonight. Looks like it is all. Yeah, it seems very odd. We had the realistic race on Friday night, so seeing a Red Bull this far down is a bit odd, because that thing was an absolute rocket ship.
I've really struggled in that AlphaTauri.
I was about to ask what. I was about to ask what car you were in, and I forgot it was the AlphaTauri. That's the car I picked for career mode, and it's
absolutely awful.
It eats up tyres, doesn't it? Like nobody's business, and isn't very good in a straight line. And I'm not quite sure what they've done to that car this year to ruin it so much, but it is a challenge.
To be honest, the home straight at Qatar is pretty long, and I couldn't even hit 8th gear.
Christ. Yeah, no, that's got to be a bit of a challenge. But you were the first. You were one of the first ones out, weren't you? But
yeah.
Did you race Qatar a lot before? Or?
I've done loads and loads of laps on Qatar, just not realistic.
Because at one point, I swear you were going for a record of how many penalties you could pick up in the shortest amount of time, and I don't know if it was just because your car wasn't turning in like you used to.
Well, to be honest, I couldn't. It was really weird. Like, it would not turn like any other car would. Obviously, we use equal performance.
Yeah. There is a huge difference. I think the equal performances are more akin to the quickest cars in the game, so they tend to mirror like the Red Bulls, or you get a lot of performance out of them. So going into a car that's rubbish is no fun at all. Norpy across the line there in P5 with a 1:29. Those lap times starting to come down. Kaiser Soze somewhere along the way. Sorry, I missed it. He has gone into pole with a 1:28.439. So yeah, really proving that he is the real deal tonight under these conditions. And Team McLaren looking very quick tonight.
I need to find 2 seconds.
No, that's all right.
Nearly 3. Jesus.
Well, yeah, but you're a last-minute replacement. You're the Liam Lawson of this. The expectations are low, so you don't have to worry.
I'll take that.
Too much.
That's my excuse.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody came in with very high hopes, particularly when you come in at last minute. But at least you are a seasoned no assists driver. I think there's a couple tonight. Let me just check in the YouTube chat. We've got, sorry, not in the YouTube chat.
Is one. I know that. G-Star maybe.
Yep.
Hoseman, I think he's no assist.
So
and
it's
as well.
It says here. So I've got reactions on the post. You've got Saviour, Donny, and Speedy Bullet usually drive with assists. But Saviour is thinking about keeping them off for today. So I don't know what assist he keeps on. I know me personally, the one assist I found the hardest to get rid of and still can't to this day is ABS.
Yeah, it's really tricky.
And it's sort of,
especially on this version of the game. It's a lot harder.
Right. That was going to be one of my follow-up questions, like how does no assist in this game compare to other ones? Because I thought last year's game was really punishing, particularly on traction control. As in
it's changed over. It's really good for traction, but really bad on the brakes.
Gosh. And is it just that sensitivity and how much you can lock up? Is that the biggest issue?
It's that, and the tyres when they wear play a factor. You've got to adjust all your stuff.
Yeah.
things like that, you've got to be on your game. You've got to really concentrate, which I kind of like.
Yeah, no, I really like this game, in particular the way that the tyre model has changed things up slightly about when you have to brake, and the fact that braking zones change as the race goes on. I think it's a really good challenge. The problem is that when you're driving with people who've done loads of laps maybe in practice or just done time trial and they're used to a very consistent car, and you have to try and adapt during the game, that's when you get dive bombs turn into torpedoes into the side of your car. So fingers crossed we don't get many of those tonight. We've got 3 minutes left of this session. We've got a lot of drivers still in the pit, so fingers crossed they'll start coming out and putting in the last laps. I think they're all just waiting. We've got a lot of people on out laps now. Where have we got Saviour? Saviour is just about to start his lap, so let's take you on board for our second pace driver. He'll really want first, and I'll be interested to see. I'm trying to watch his throttle, see how he's doing that, see if he's got any of the signs of somebody who doesn't normally run with assist, because being in second place already is pretty impressive if he's just moved to assist for tonight. That car looks very planted through the S's. Well, second is key round here, but
what car is he?
He's in a McLaren tonight.
Oh good. I can stick to the left of you then.
Yeah, no, he is just coming around the corner now. Yeah, there he is. Gives Ryan a wave on the way by. And you can see where this track here, if you look at the onboard and throttle impact, where the big danger zones are for no assist runners through here. It's not only traction out of the S's, but traction out of places like that hairpin. I think we're going to see a lot of action there. There's a lot of lockups or a lot of chances for having spins if you're not too careful. Through 130 hours, it's not so much a problem, but it's here, it's hard braking in. You can see him just having to lift off at the last minute. Slight, maybe, squeak of the brakes, but he's going to go across the line with 122 left on the screen. That's going to be, yes, that's pole position of 128.3238. Excellent lap from him. What can Kaiser Soze do? In return, we're on board with the Alpine driver now. He is down by 0.194 seconds, so he's going to have to find a little bit extra in the car. He's going to have to find another 0.4 if he wants to take the top spot tonight. Of course, it's not just a look at the car struggling into that hairpin, and he's got on the throttle so much, but no, he's going to lose it. That was the problem. I said that's what you can have. And the Alpine is round. I think that's going to be the end of qualifying for him, and he's going to have to hope now that drivers like Calvin and like Dennis Hornet don't go any quicker. Let's stick on board with the other Ferrari man, Dennis Hornet, see what he can do as he starts his flying lap. Currently P4 needs to find 0.6 seconds if he wants to get anywhere near the front row of the grid tonight. Calvin in the other McLaren is cutting it very, very fine. There's only 20 seconds left of this session, but yes, he's managed to get on a fast lap, so he will probably be one of the last ones to cross the line tonight. On board with Dennis Hornet at the moment, sweeping around those S's. That purple helmet standing out on the track. Two right-handers. It's so easy to go wide. You just see the little wiggle there. He goes through. He's really battling with the car, but he seems to have the hairpin lined up pretty well.
Spun.
Oh, little moment. Yeah, we got yellows out in sector 3, so that might be P18, so you can go for the last to first challenge instead. Don't worry, you can guide us all the way through that in every single overtake you make. As you're on comms. Oh, Hoseman. Hoseman goes up into P3 in the Aston Martin. Excellent lap from him, so there's a lot of work Dennis Hornet has to do, and he's down by over a second, so yeah, I think he's going to have to bail on this lap. Calvin, where's he's down 0.153. So a lot of drivers not really firing up at the end. Oh, Captain Nibs is our 5-second grid penalty. Collision with Gattin. We might say that later. There is no stewarding tonight, remember, so please keep it as clean as possible, lads. Obviously, if there's something incredibly egregious, we don't want bumper cars, let us know. Yeah, Calvin fails to improve, and I think with that, we've got our last few drivers into the pits. 2 Red Bulls have got off their lap. Smith is on his way into the pits as well. So that will be the end of qualifying here. We will have the 100% race just round the corner. And remember that it is all dry conditions, so we shouldn't have any mix-up tonight, as much as Ant wants to qualify on those intermediates. He'll be keeping it clean. So just as we wait for the session to end, have you got anybody who you've got your eye on that's super quick, or any drivers that you know that we've got to focus on tonight?
I think Overman is pretty quick. But Saviour's just God tier, let's be honest.
He is another level. I'm trying to see what other tier 1 drivers we've got in here. We've got G-Star, we've got Calvin, I know off the top of my head, Bergen is tier 1 pace on his day, so, and we've got Ant as well, who's decided to go down in P20, so a lot of potential for drivers tonight, but let's just quickly take you through the grid then. So it's Saviour, P1, Kaiser Soze, P2, Hosman and G-Star make up the second row of the grid, the Aston Martin, the Alfa Romeo, then it's Lorpe and Calvin 5th and 6th, Melvin 7th, Dumas Hornet 8th, Gattian P9 and B17 rounds up the top 10 in the Williams with a very respectable 129.5. Then we go down to the next 10. Got Bergen in 11th, Rob Smith 12th, Era Voice saving a pair of softs for the race, so that's why he's down in P13. Captain Nibs P14, Smith P15, Baby Hornet P16, Scottish Ninja P17, yourself Ryan down in 18th, Fire Rooster in the Alpha Tauri is in P19, and Ant in the final Alpha Tauri, determined to make this a realistic performance race as well, with those two pooping dogs starting down in 19th and 20th. There is a formation lap for this race, so fingers crossed we don't get a massive glitch. Go well for the race. What tyres are you thinking of starting on, Ryan? There's a lot of options around here. Have you even looked at strategy, or just going to go with a tried and tested formula of what feels right?
Well, I don't like the hards, so I think they're out the window.
I think
so. Possibly medium to soft.
I like that. I always like starting on a pair of mediums because I feel like it gives me a little bit of flexibility. I know this is a 100% race, so it might be a 2-stop rather than a 1-stop, but if you take the mediums deep, you can probably put a pair of softs on later, or if you get an early safety car, you can get off the mediums and go on to hards and go a bit longer. But I think you're right. On a track like this, particularly through the S's, on the harder compound sets, just feel terrible through there. You are going to be so much slower, and you're going to be a cork in the bottle to anybody who's trapped behind you and can't make it past.
Not that I'm going to catch anyone, but you know.
Hey, we live in hope. You might do, mate. This is your big comeback race. I can feel it. So we'll have the formation lap starting now. Let's just get some of the details up here. Let's get the tyres up. So yeah, we've got Saviour starting on the mediums, Kaiser Soze and Hosman on the hards. G-Star, the only one to start on softs. Mediums for Lorpe, 2 pairs of hards for Calvin and Melvin. And then everybody from 8th place all the way down to 20th is starting on the medium tyre. So equal performance, remember, equal skill. We should see... Oh, maybe there was a slight tap between Hosman and G-Star. They've been reset to the finish straight. So I'm going to have maybe very, very cold tyres getting away. Focus on that. Oh, you've jumped up to P17 after that grid place penalty was applied to Captain Nibs. So first overtake done before turn 1, mate. Great stuff.
Lovely. I saw someone go wide there and I thought it was him.
No, it is...
Realised it was a formation lap.
Yeah, no, it's Ant. I don't know, for some reason he's way, way back, but I think he just wants everybody to have as cold tyres as possible.
I think it was Baby Hornet that went round.
I think that makes sense. I did see a Williams in the gravel, maybe not quite used to those very cold tyres at the start. Remember, they are a bit warmer when you put the blankets on and take them right out of the pits on quali, so bit of an adaptation game in the air. Just in the background there, that was... Who's that? There was a car going very wide round Spoon as well, so got all sorts of shenanigans on this formation lap. Hopefully we won't see so many in the race. Final ones lined up here. Let's stick on board with Saviour. Be leading us out tonight. I think Saviour possibly will want to escape up the road here. He's on mediums and the two drivers behind him, apart from G-Star, they're both on a set of hards, so they want to make the most of that tyre difference while he can, and if those drivers behind are a little bit of a cork in the bottle for everybody else, then it will be perfect news for him. That's an excellent camera shot. Look at that one as we just see everybody weaving and lining up in their grids. I don't know what line in that grid that Williams is going to take. A very aggressive line, almost a David Coulthard type line, but yeah, okay. I think right, 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we're away. We've started here at Japan. That's a very good start from Saviour. I think those two hard runners are really struggling to get away, and yes, you can see it's Lorpe, I think, making up a couple of positions. Kaiser Soze is all over the back of this McLaren as they hair around the first corner. Captain Nibs up a couple of positions. Fire Rooster up. We've got, oh yeah, that's yourself just going a little bit wide at the back into turn 1, but keeping it very clean and tidy. No big dramas, nobody's around, and that's excellent news as everybody has got through these corners safely. Oh no, I've spoken too soon. There's a yellow flag right at the back there. That's Melvin. Melvin on hard tyres, very cold tyres going round, so he finds himself down in P20, which is a shame. Just looking up the grid, gosh, that's an Aston Martin go away. That's Hoseman, so he was up in 4th place. Now he's falling down the field, down into 7th as they head towards the hairpin. Nose to tail, and that's a Red Bull going wide. I think that's Bergen. Yeah, he's just got that a little bit wrong. He's down to 12th, so people already struggling to get to grips with these tyres early on, and you don't want to find yourself super far down the field making a mistake this early, because overtaking round here isn't the easiest, I find. Where do you think the main overtaking zones are going to be here tonight, Ryan?
It's probably going to be turn 1 and is it R32? Probably you call it.
Yeah, the big sweeping one just before the casino chicane.
Yeah.
Got G-Star all over the back of Lorpe. G-Star, remember, the only starter on the soft, so he'll want to get past quickly. DRS won't be available yet. It'll be available when we start lap 3, but he doesn't want another 2 laps behind, and they're going to go side by side into turn 1. And this is where so many accidents can happen if you're not careful. You've got to be so respectful of the car on the outside. And he knows exactly where that car is, and they've gone through still in the same order. Oh, I think there's been a car gone wide at the back there. Is that Captain Nibs? No, is it Smith? Smith seems to be falling down the field. Oh, it's Hoseman. Hoseman, who would fall down the field into P7. He's had another incident, I think, back there in turn 1, and he's down in P16, so it's just going from bad to worse for the Dutchman. He'll want to get straight up. Sugar. Oh, Sugar. Daisy. Any damage on your car? Any contact, or was that just a little moment?
Just me. I've run wide onto the grass.
That's treacherous around here, isn't it? The grass. A little tap, and suddenly you're around. So
I think I have lost an end plate.
Let's have a look. Yeah, your front left. So you might find downforce a little tricky around here. But hey, if you go out, then the sooner you can join, you can run up the steps into the combox with me. We've got G-Star going side by side with Lorpe. He's trying to do it, as you said, through 130R. You have to be very, very brave to go through there side by side, and it means that Calvin has now caught up to this battle. Lorpe seems to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment, as 3 cars now swarming over the back of him. Lap 3, so DRS will be enabled, but it won't be ready quite yet. G-Star seems to be using all of his ERS then as he pushes Lorpe wide there, and he had the crucial inside line. He was ahead going into that corner, which means he could just edge him out. And that's up into the last of the podium positions, up into P3. Now I wonder what our hard runner Calvin is going to do. He's looked very racy on the harder compound of tyres. And Saviour, must be said, isn't escaping up the road from Kaiser Soze like I thought he would. He's out of DRS range, which is what you want by this time, but yeah, it's not the massive advantage that I thought it would be. Devasaur having an excellent race there in P6 just on the back of this train. And we've got Era Voice as well in a Red Bull sandwich in between Rob Smith and Bergen. But Baby Hornet, what's happened to him?
That is lovely for me.
That is a huge mess. There's a huge mess of carbon fibre. So yeah, you say, oh, you just went into the pits to change your front wing. So as long as you can pass this safety car legally, come on, Burt Mylander, let him pass. Oh, this is terrifying. That's when the F1 game turns into a horror game there, because the last thing you want to do is get absolutely smashed out of the race.
Yeah, I didn't want to attack him.
The safety car. So you've gone for a fresh set of hards. Is that just necessity, or do you think you'll just go back onto a set of mediums and say that your hard compound of tyres is sort of done for now?
Well, I weren't expecting a safety car.
Yeah. Okay.
So just put them on to see if I could try and catch up on the pits.
Yeah.
I'll keep them on for now.
Yeah, no, I think that's sensible. At least you will keep in track position. One thing as well I was going to ask you about sort of the difference with no assist. You've talked about this game having a lot of difference with tyre wear and the way the car feels from lap to lap. Do you think it feels significantly different with a heavy fuel load in as well, like when it comes to stuff like ABS or taking that braking assist off? Because for me,
you can definitely feel it. You've got to. You can always just brake that little bit earlier in practice. Brake 30 metres early, and then bring it down until you hit the sweet spot.
Yeah,
I think what practice makes perfect.
Yeah, precisely. And I think there's a lot of drivers, I know an awful lot of them do attend practice, but if you don't, I know it's hard if you don't have the time to join one of our official practice sessions, but just get in there, just make sure you do a couple of laps in the car and mix it up. Like, time trial is good for getting hang of a circuit. Like if I'm learning a new one like Las Vegas or Qatar, which I'm going to have to do soon, I would jump into time trial. But once you know it, once you know the rough braking zones, then you want to have that adaptability up your sleeve. And probably, I don't know if you do the thing that everybody does where they sandbag, where they put a ton more fuel than you actually need in the car in practice, but it can sort of help you if you're more conservative. I find then when the car is lighter, then it's better, it's more responsive than you feel, rather than having the car always on the edge. And when you're at full fuel load, it just doesn't take very much for it to cause an accident with it.
It's always better to start on the worst tyre as well. So by the end of the race, you've got the feeling in the car and the tyres.
I like that. That's a very good tip. Yeah, so don't just rely on softs, because you're going to have such a shock when you get onto the pair of 15-lap-old hards at the end. You're going to have no idea where to brake or which direction you're going. Quickly have a look in the old YouTube chat here. We've got Philip saying, let's go Saviour. Obviously, Saviour's biggest fanboy in the chat there as well. And Speedy Bullet says, let's go Smith. And let's go Coach Calvin. Clearly, Calvin's taken him under his wing. We've got driver coaches available if you want it. If you're listening from MRC or just want to have a try, then do ask about them. Or the other thing you can do is just get in a party, find some mates, and there'll be somebody willing to help you out. As long as you're not in a championship battle, and as long as it's not too spicy, we're a friendly group here, and people are more than happy just to give you a basic setup or a few hints and tips, because we want as many safe and reliable drivers in the league. I think I would stress that the thing we value above all else is if you're clean. It doesn't matter if you're a second off the pace or half a second off the pace per lap. If you keep it on track and you've got racecraft, then you're a bigger value to the league than somebody who is a time trial merchant who smacks it into the barrier every other corner.
Yeah, we all start somewhere as well.
Precisely, yeah.
Remember my first time as well.
Where was that at Brazil, or was that China? Okay.
Yeah. You and Mark just lapping me in the running.
Well, my first memory of you is the Brazil race that I won. I think Was it I went into the back of you under a safety car? I wasn't paying attention and accidentally got 5 seconds. It was something like that. Or you went into the back of me. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like, oh my goodness me, I'm ever so sorry. I've just taken this guy out and put him in the shadow lane. But thankfully you stuck around, and like I say, you're a safety car in this lap, so we will go racing soon. But yeah, no, you've been a tremendous asset to this league, always willing to get in the car at the last minute, as you have done tonight, mate. So I know you're down in P18, but thank you ever so much for stepping in.
To be honest, the best thing I did was stick around.
Yeah, I think you've got to find the fun and find, like, if you're not finding it fun, then it becomes a drag, but you just want to stick around for that camaraderie, for the, a nice thing to do every Monday night. It's fun. So yeah, if you're having half thoughts about it, just join, find a mate up and see how you go. Hello? Goodness me. So if we had a big glitch there, it seems like the session has just completely gone.